Justin Trudeau tweets out Sunday night, hey, this is not right. This can't be in our country. I was like, well, praise God. We have a leader trying to do something for the first time in his life.
Right.
But then secondly, his finance minister was doing a press conference today, Monday afternoon. And this is what was asked of her during this press conference.
Oh, boy. Do I have to listen to her talk?
Yes, you do.
How much you bet?
Oh my God.
She's going to start out. Let me be clear.
Protesters in Ottawa were heard chanting, among other things, "Long live October 7th," and
She looks like a
October
psych
7th is
patient.
proof that we are almost free. Is this hate speech?
I wasn't in Ottawa over the weekend, and I'm not aware of those specific reports, and so it would be just wrong of me to comment on something that I am not specifically aware of.
Who are these lackeys in the background?
What I will say
It could be anywhere else.
Today is a time in Canada when anti-Semitism and Islamophobia are on the rise. When we have there are a lot of Canadians who are not feeling safe.
So that was her response to that question.
Dude, she's so gay.
Awful response.
Everything about her.
It's terrible.
That was a nothing sandwich if I ever saw
Well,
one.
what isn't it? She just says a bunch of words
She literally had close to 12 hours since the prime minister tweeted about it.
to learn about it a little.
Yeah, you think you buying that lie that she hadn't heard about it yet?
Oh, God, no.
She's always holding the pen. The way her head moves, she's just so untrustworthy. It's like there's just something off about her.
Yeah, exactly. And it was almost like 4 or 5 hours later, enough time for her to realize how much she got wrecked on social media.
Oh boy.
This tweet comes out. Having seen the video from this weekend, Chrissy Freeland says, I can only express shock and disgust at the anti-Semitism and glorification of terrorism that occurred on Parliament Hill. This hate speech has no place in Canada. None. Great timing, Chrissy.
I think she copied that last sentence from someone else.
And do you know what this was? This was like, Mr. Trudeau, what is the approved thing that we're supposed to say?
Exactly. Watch, when we start having finance press conferences again, it'll be Trudeau now speaking. She won't be allowed anymore.
The first comment, you gave a standing ovation to a Nazi, you raging hypocrite.
Shout out Viva Fry. Shout out Viva.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and he's not wrong. But yeah, so like that's kind of what was coming from different parts that I went through our government today. Right. That was the response to that event.
Just like a couple tweets. Well, first it was like her little, like the video, and then she just puts out a tweet.
Yeah, and that's what's happening amongst the Ontario legislature, the KIFA. Am I pronouncing that right?
I think so.
Yeah, which is traditional garb.
Yes,
and a lot of ministers are advocating that they should be able to wear that in the legislature, and that's been a lot of hubbub.
Oh,
and a lot of people are just like, no, you shouldn't be allowed to wear that, and the minister's like, well, that's wrong. You should be able, this as part of your culture, you should be able to wear it in the house. And there's like, yeah, but it's garb worn by a known terrorist group that is killing people. And right now, it might be a part of your culture, but right now in mainstream media, it's associated with terrorism. It just doesn't look good for a government official to be wearing it.
Right.
Is the argument.
It's kind of like the idea that like the actual Nazi symbol was never actually that in the first place.
Great comparison.
Like it was actually a symbol out of India, out of the Far East, that had a completely different meaning.
Yeah.
And you can see it if you go over to Southeast Asia, and you can see it everywhere in all kinds of structures. And people are like, oh my God, why is a symbol everywhere? And it's like, because that's not what it was originally.
Yeah.
And so these days we don't go, oh, well, it was originally that symbol, so it's okay to put everywhere. It's like, no, we've recognized what that's become and how the symbol has evolved. And so in this case, like, that piece of garb has evolved to be a different symbol rather than just a piece of clothing.
Exactly.
100%.
Spot on. And then especially all the stuff that happened down in the States at Columbia University. That was a big protest, a Palestine protest that literally took over the campus. So much so that a Jewish professor, Shai Davidi, I believe it was, his key card got revoked because they couldn't guarantee his safety on campus.
Wow.
And I was like,
What?
How does that make sense?
There's an easy way to guarantee their safety.
Yeah,
He works at school. You arrest everybody else.
yeah,
It's private property.
exactly. Simple as that. But yeah, the COO was there with security saying you can't.
They just what they just did was draw a line in the sand between their own member of staff and a protest who has nothing to do with that school.
Yeah,
Regardless of what they're protesting for, you should be loyal to your staff.
exactly.
Yeah, but I wonder if it's a question of like what's the fastest measure to take, right?
Well, of
one
course.
person versus like however many there
mob.
was. Yeah.
Yeah. Especially when, sorry, you were going to say something?
Oh, I was just going to say it would have at least been helpful to maybe revoke his key card and then as well make an example of these people if they were so inclined.
Yeah. But we all know that's not what it's about. It's about trying to make sure the left doesn't get violent,
Right.
as it typically is. And so interesting, Congresswoman Ilhan Omar's daughter was in these protests and got arrested.
Ooh.
And Ilhan Omar has been on record criticizing Israel every chance she's had over her time in Congress. And so this has not looked good and played well for her either. But it has been interesting how the left tactics, whatever it may be, are very effective. They seize media, they seize the narrative, and they make sure that's pushed. And that's why we're seeing such massive protests starting to erupt across North America now in support of Palestine, because they've seized the narrative and they're winning, unfortunately, even though it's wrong. That was electric, wasn't it? Well, we enjoyed it. Hope you did too. If you did, you can check this video out here to the top right corner right near my window. Get over. There it is. There it is right there. And if you liked that, you can also check this one right here. We love you. Have a good one. Peace out.